welcome to our last final part of this little series. I know it took a while for us to film it. I've been sick, not feeling or looking my best. I don't care anymore, so we're just gonna do this. I love those birds in our backyard. I love that about California. One thing about the other video, the last video that we made, is I actually want to take something back. The thing we said about cannabis, that they don't actually have CBD oil in Sweden, we found out that they do. And that's amazing, and that's one less thing to worry about, thank God. I actually love that. But here's the thing, there's like no one really knows about that in Sweden. So I wanna recommend that. If you know anyone who lives with like chronic pain or anxiety or anything really, I mean, not that CBD oil cures everything, but tell them to look into that because it's actually legal. There are some websites where you can order that, and it's worth it. It's well worth it.
Number 6, parental leave and daycare costs.
So this is a big one. This is a big positive thing about Sweden and living there. Basically in Sweden you can get 80 to 90% of your salary when you stay home with your children. And there are different kinds of ways you can get paid as a parent in Sweden, but there's a lot of details about that I'm not going to go into because this is going to be a super long video then. But basically when you have a child in Sweden, the parents have the right to take out 480 days to be at home with that child. So each parent can stay home for 9 months each, and then normally the child starts daycare or kindergarten, whatever you call it, when they're like a year and a half old, about a year. But you can also save some of the days and use them up until the child is, I think it's when they're 8 years old. It could be 12, I might be wrong. There's some different rules about that, but basically you can save your days too, which is a good thing. You see a cat running around.
So in Sweden, the government gives the people who have children 3 months to stay home, 90 days each, and it's like mandatory. So that's pretty awesome. Whereas like over here, it's like 2 weeks pass and you're like, hey, I know you just had a kid, but can you come back to work? Like, so, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so most people then chooses to stay at home with their child. Sorry, that's an airplane. Chooses to stay home with their child until the child is about 1 to 3 years old. It depends on, how much parental leave you have, what kind of income you have, and all that. But at least until they're a year old, because that's when, they start wanting to have friends and be social, and you gotta learn the social skills. So it makes sense to put them in daycare then. But up until a year old, I don't see the point of removing that child from its parents. Every family chooses for themselves, like who should stay home, what days. Most Swedish parents usually decides that the mom should be at home the first 6 months, and then the dad stays home for the next 6 months, and then the rest of the days that they have left over they usually save for later time whenever that is needed, which I think makes sense. I mean, usually in the beginning the baby needs its mom a little bit more, and then when it's a little bit older, the dad can take over. But that's totally optional. I mean, if we would move to Sweden, it would probably be Nick who's home a lot of the time with the kid if he doesn't have a work visa and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd rather have him stay home with our kids rather than dropping it off at a daycare. And of course, a baby can be born whenever. So whenever the baby's born, both parents get 10 days. Actually, I think it's you get 30 double days where you can both be home with the baby, and after that, one parent at a time have to be on parental leave, but you get 30 days together, which I think is really nice. Because here it's the mom has a baby, and then a week later the dad goes to work. At least if you're on our level of income, we would not be able to stay home, both of us. There's no way. And I think that's sad, because the one parent is really missing out on that first special time. So daycare in America is very expensive too, and when you end your parental leave, you got to put your kids somewhere, right? So it can be anywhere, I think, between $800 to $1,500 a month here, and that's for one child. There are certain discounts that I could get if I work at a daycare and I put my child in daycare, but that's still a lot of money that we just don't have compared to Sweden, where it actually just costs I think about $160 per month to put your kid in daycare. And if you have a second child in the same daycare, it's $200 because you get a discount if you have several kids there. Number 7, the school system and the education costs. So one thing I know that can be a problem in America is the cost of food when the kids go to school. Usually you have like a lunch bag, right? Like a lunch box that you bring with you from home.
Yeah.
And the parents always have to make sure that that's packed. That's one thing I hated as an au pair. I had to pack the kids' lunches every freaking night and make sure that they're all well fed, and I had to keep track of like how much did they eat today at school. And you know, you hear about some kids getting bullied for like what they bring to school, like because everyone has their individual lunch, and you know, it costs money too to like provide that every single day. And so that's one thing I like about Sweden is that everyone gets the same food. Of course they like have vegetarian options and you know, depending on what religion you have and stuff, but everyone gets food in school, and don't have to worry about that or getting bullied for having whatever to school, you know, or getting their lunch stolen, you know.
But is it optional to bring your own lunch?
I actually don't know if you're even allowed to. I mean, I haven't even like thought of that, because why would anyone bring lunch to school if like they already have like a bunch of different healthy, great options, like, you know?
Because maybe they don't feel like eating that day. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I always remember being like, I mean, there's like a buffet basically, and there's like, it's even gotten better actually since I left Sweden. Like, it's so much more like organic and healthy, and there's like vegan options. And like when I was younger, I remember sometimes like you could get like a spaghetti with like meat sauce, and it was like kind of runny. You weren't always sure that it was like the healthiest thing, but like we all ate it. We all liked the food. Still good food. But yeah.
All right, someone just shot themselves.
Let's leave America. I just remember always loving the food in the Swedish schools, and now when I look at the menus of the schools, it's like so updated. There are like so many options. So like, why would you even want to bring your own crackers, and apples are gonna get bad during the day? Like, you don't think it sounds good?
No, I do. It's just nice to have an option and not feel like you have to eat this. You have to eat this every day.
I see that point. I see that point for sure.
Sometimes, you know, I liked having like, you know, a chicken wrap sandwich, or you know, a ham sandwich one day and a roast beef sandwich the next day.
That is one good thing, that you control what you yourself bring to school.
Yeah, as long as, you know, I'm all about having our kids eat healthy, but you know, I'm a chef. Like, I like different stuff. I like switching it up all the time. So I think.
Well, you get different foods every day at school. They have like a menu every day, like different menu, and then like a ton of vegetables to choose from. So if you don't like carrots, then you can have cucumber. Education costs. Let's discuss those, because I feel like that kind of belongs to, like, you know, the food costs in school. So I'm kind of trying to wrap it all up together.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that we're dreading if we do stay in Sweden. I mean, sorry.
America.
Yes.
Is that college is super expensive, and we want our children to go to college. Because it's good. It's good to go to college. And,
I mean, we're kind of regretting that we didn't like appreciate. Like, I mean, I obviously went to school in Sweden. I'm almost done with my college degree, but I didn't appreciate at the time that as long as I have good grades, I could basically get whatever degree in education that I want in Sweden. And you're kind of regretting now that like you didn't put more effort into appreciate, like, you know, studying, and you got your GED, but that only takes us so far, you know.
Right. So yeah, if we move to Sweden, college is free over there. So yeah, over here it's not. So that's a huge burden that's lifted off our shoulders.
Yeah, because we don't want our kids to struggle with money and stuff. So if they, I mean, obviously they're gonna go after whatever passion they have. So if they, I mean, I have a passion to work with kids, and that's not gonna pay a lot of money. But if you get a degree in something, it's really gonna help a lot. Number 8, I wrote number 8 as extra help when your family grows. Basically what I mean by this is that when you have a child in Sweden, a second child, and your first child is probably already old enough to, our cats are fighting over there, it's probably old enough already to go to daycare, obviously. But if you have a second child, you know, you most often want the other child to bond with its younger sibling, but it's also a lot of work to take care of a toddler and a baby. Trust me, I've done that, and it's a lot. And so in Sweden, the daycare system offers you to put your older kid in daycare for 15 hours a week, which is so helpful. Like, I know a lot of parents who feels like that's really helpful. So basically what you can do is you choose what days of the week that you want your child in daycare. So let's say that you choose 5 days a week. as a parent, you can drop it off at 9 a.m. and then go home, spend time with your new baby, get a nap in there somewhere, and just create a routine with your new baby and, you know, all that stuff. And then you pick up your child at 12, and usually around that time it's, you know, it's lunchtime, you feed your kid, and then usually they take a nap in the afternoon, right? So you put them down for a nap, and then you spend the rest of the day with both of your kids. So you get that time off, you get a little break, which I think is helpful for new parents.
Number 9, health insurance in America versus Sweden. So, first of all, health insurance in America really kind of differs on a lot of jobs offer certain types of health care, and depending on what job you have, it can be very different. So my job currently right now has quite amazing health care. I have her covered on there, and she's got, you know, an illness, and I'm getting banged up all the time, breaking bones like crazy, and it's been cool. But there has been times where my benefits got terminated because of all this paperwork when I go out on disability and someone doesn't file through and do their job, and so
We've experienced the downside of that, basically.
yeah, like she needed her prescription pills and I didn't have coverage, which means she didn't have coverage, and we had to pay like over $600 for just a week and a half supply of her pills, and
that medication didn't help, by the way. I still got the more the cheaper one later on, though,
right,
the stronger
it's
one.
just shitty. So
yeah,
in Sweden, healthcare is free, and the insurance and all that. You just have to pay higher taxes over there, but I mean, it all kind of comes with it, the package. You know, it's over here. It's like, you know, yeah, you don't have to pay as high taxes, but it's just it
doesn't add up. Like
no.
When they say that, because okay, so to explain like what the whole free part means is like, yeah, we pay higher taxes, but here, if we would buy our own insurance here, it'd be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars every month. Like I've looked at all these package deals that they have for like families and couples, and I'm like, ugh, it's horrible. I can't even imagine paying that much money for it every month. Like you need to be kind of rich to do that.
Yeah. Plus, like, sorry to cut you
no,
off.
that's okay.
You know, my job currently is so much. My body is just getting beat to hell, and I can't stay there. It's just so physically demanding. Great benefits, but I mean that's kind of why they give it to you, because they know they're going to beat you up. And so, you know, in between jobs, obviously I'm probably going to find something that doesn't have as good as the package of, you know, benefits won't probably be as good. And then also there's a trial period where you have to wait. It's like 6 months. To get those benefits. Sometimes it's a year, sometimes it's 90 days. You never really know, and it's like, that's scary. Like, because she has, you know, chronic illness, she has to take these medications and stuff, and let's face it, I am a train wreck. I never know what's going to happen to me. I'm clumsy.
He's a little clumsy.
I always break stuff all the time.
But yeah, so over there it's a little less of a worry.
Yeah, you can compare it to like my sister and her family. They have a 2-year-old. And she and her boyfriend, and so they pay for illnesses, like if you get sick, if you get injured, and I think it's also like their home insurance together. They pay for 3 people per month. They pay like $15. That's why I say it's free, because $15. That's like you can get like a Togo sandwich for you know. That's why we're looking at Sweden as maybe a future option. We don't know how soon. Maybe in a year, maybe 10 years. Who knows? We're just looking at it very we're trying to be very logical. Sorry guys, we had to move inside because it got a little dark out there in the backyard. Number 10, and the last point that we have for this little video series is that old people in Sweden tend to be more active. And I feel like we have a lot of experience comparing this because we actually live in your grandparents' house. And it's pretty obvious to me that in Sweden, and of course there are people who can't be mobile their whole lives, like things happen, but in general, old people tend to be out in their gardens. They tend to go to the forest, take walks, stay active. We have a great public transportation system, so they can get places and they can ride their bikes. It's very accessible in that way, and they stay strong that way. They stay healthy. You know, my grandmother, up until not recently, when she ended up in a home because she's got dementia, up until then, she went to her local grocery store. She saw her friends. She took walks every day, stayed busy, you know, picking mushrooms and lingonberries and, you know, doing whatever she can do to enjoy her life and stay strong. My grandfather, who died from a stroke, he died while he was raking leaves by the summer house in his 80s. You know, he literally stayed active up until the day he died. And he had diabetes, like, and he wasn't the healthiest diabetic either. Like, he would sneak candy all the time to me, my sister, and then he would eat a few bites himself. But, you know, like, just staying active, it helps mentally to stay strong. And I feel like in America, especially where we live, where there's not a good public transportation system.
Yeah, so everybody relies on like a car.
Yeah, not everyone can drive when they're that old.
So it's a lot easier to fall into that trap when you get older here in America. Like
You just stay at home.
You just kind of become bedridden, and then you make up a lot of excuses. Oh, my legs, I can't walk anymore. Well, you know that saying, like, if you don't use it, you're gonna lose it.
Right, that's a good one. Yeah.
It just sounds better that in Sweden, you know, like she was saying, public transportation is a lot better over there, and you can get around a lot easier, and you know.
Even if it's just to visit your loved one's grave, you know, like my grandma could do that. She didn't always need to get a ride from us.
When you get older, you know, it's like, oh, I can't drive anymore. So you get stuck into that, and you know, life doesn't have to end that way, that quickly, you know, and you could have potentially another 10 good years of moving around and staying healthy, whereas over here it's just kind of like, oh, well, my legs don't work anymore because I haven't used them in years. So then the rest of your body shuts down, and I can speak from personal experience with that because that's what happened to my grandfather. He was 89, but he definitely could have been a little more active, you know. But
yeah, then you have to pay for nurses and medical bills and you know,
in-home care, all that shit.
Not to say that there aren't places like that in Sweden, of course. Like a lot of people end up in a home eventually. But if you can push that off as much as possible, because you get to see someone. Like, I mean, my grandmother would talk to the people at the grocery store like they were her friends. You know, like that daily little trip to the grocery store was a big deal. And talking to her neighbors when they're out playing, you know, seeing kids play around, like that does make a difference, I think, mentally.
Yeah. So, with all that being said, and all those points and pros and cons that we've made, we still love the nature in both countries.
That's one thing that we wanted to put on both lists. Like that's the pros. That and traditions, because the nature and traditions in both countries are awesome. Like we can't complain about them.
No.
Like there are a lot of things that Nick has not experienced about Swedish traditions. Obviously, I've experienced more American ones. I've experienced 4th of July, Thanksgiving, and I know this is Irish, but St. Patrick's Day. I love St. Patrick's Day. It's so much fun.
Me too. I love those Irish car bombs.
It's so much fun. But you know, you've experienced some of them. You know, we had a midsummer party here last year that you loved, but of course it's a different story to go to Sweden. So this summer we're going to go to Sweden and he's going to experience midsummer, which I'm excited about. But just in general, like there's like nothing to complain about. Like we both love the nature in America, we love the nature in Sweden, and the weather. It's just that they're two completely different things. We love it all in different ways. And that's why we're torn. Also, you know, that's a big deal to us. But yeah, we're gonna wait and see what we feel about where to live. But those were our pros and cons, and we can't wait to vlog when we go to Sweden this summer. We're gonna vlog every day.
It's gonna be fun.
We're gonna post a lot of fun videos from there. We have a lot of stuff planned. Like I planned every single day. Like very like all the restaurants and
You'll see it when it happens. You'll try Swedish meatballs every day. Thanks guys for sticking around and watching all this stuff, and